It is day four of my gratefulness project, or my 100 Days of Gratefulness. One of these days I'll get that title right. And the source of my gratitude today, or the one that I would like to highlight, is actually from my Tagalog lesson. A little bit of background. I started learning Tagalog at the start of 2020. So in January 2020, I decided I would take it up again. I would try to learn Tagalog. Even though I grew up in a household with two parents who are fluent, who came from the Philippines, who speak to each other in Tagalog, I never learned it. And I'm not sure the exact reason why, but a lot of it I think has to do with the fact that we didn't grow up around a lot of other Filipinos. And with that, nobody else spoke Tagalog. I looked different. Lived in a pretty Caucasian neighborhood. Most of my friends were Caucasian, and that was another area where I think I felt as a kid I already looked different. I don't want to sound different or speak that other language. I just wanted to fit in. Well, fast forward to today, and I guess there's some regret with that decision, because now I have to study if I want to be able to learn it. But I think as well there's this opportunity of a greater appreciation, where now I have to work for it. Now I have to be able to learn. So that being said, I've been taking lessons, as I said, since the beginning of 2020. And as that's been weekly, right? 1 or 2 lessons every week, in addition to being able to speak to my parents on a very regular basis, and now being home for an extended period of time, being able to speak there. And I think I may have gotten a little too proud. I think I may have overestimated my abilities, or maybe not overestimated, but just got a little too lax in the way that I studied. Because now that I had a really tough lesson earlier today. And in that lesson, I didn't know a lot of the words, or it was a struggle to be able to come up with those sorts of translations. And so that's what I'm thankful for. I'm actually thankful that there was this tough lesson, because similar, I guess, to some of the other things, this is a wake-up call. It's a reminder to me that in order to be able to make progress, especially in a skill like this, right, in a skill like learning a language, it takes that constant daily work. And also, there is no end goal with this, where there is no end point. Because even in my native language, right, the only language that I know fluently, which is English, there's still so much that I'm learning, or I can learn. And so that goes with these other languages that I'm attempting to learn as well. And so with that, there was a lot of frustration after the lesson, and it was mostly frustration with myself for not putting in the work that I needed to daily. Because that's where I was able to see, hey, this is the result of not putting in the necessary work. But I'm thankful, because I'm taking that longer perspective. I'm taking that longer perspective of realizing that, hey, I want to be able to speak this for the rest of my life. I want to make this a continual process. Eventually, I want to be able to spend time in the Philippines, 6 months to a year at a minimum. And whenever I'm there, I want to be able to speak. And so if it takes little humility checks like this to remind me that, hey, put in the daily practice, do the studying, right? And the studying in a purposeful manner, because it's not necessarily just the time, but it's also the way in which I'm studying language, just like any other skill. Taking that longer perspective, this is just a little blip in the road. This is just that kind of moment where I was growing, and then I hit a plateau, and then I grew again, and maybe I've been on a plateau. And this is that urging where the world gives me a challenge. God gives me a challenge. And it's up to me. Do I just say, I'm frustrated, I quit, I'm not going to do it? Or do I rise up and actually grow so much more from it? So with that, from what could be an unfortunate situation, it's actually, again, an opportunity. So it's for that I'm so grateful today. It's going to be something where I'm going to make this study. I'm going to be like whenever I was just starting, where it was very deliberate. That was the word I was looking for earlier, deliberate. It's very deliberate in the way in which I approach the language learning, and not as lax, not just doing the minimum to keep a streak going. Instead, actually going to bed each night knowing that I made tangible growth, knowing that I did what I could. So that's it. That's day 4. Continue on in this. Actually going with the whole family. We're going to go to a restaurant. It's called Kain Tayo. And so it's Filipino food. We're going to go enjoy that. Enjoy some family time. So I'm glad to have shot this beforehand, just so it's not on my mind. So I'm able to just continue the momentum, but then also take the time as well to enjoy that family time, time with people with whom I really, really love. That wasn't correct English. Time with people that I really, really love. So that's it for today. See you tomorrow. Have an incredibly blessed day, and sending out lots of love. See ya.